Bienvenidos everyone. Alright, today I'm going to show you a dessert that's going to knock your socks off. Raspberry and chocolate tartlets with whipped cream. Let me tell you, this dessert has a gorgeous combination of flavors, a beautiful presentation, and we're going to make everything from scratch, including the pie crust, raspberry puree, and the whipped cream. Okay, this dessert's a lot of fun to make, it's easy, and it's done in under 45 minutes.
Okay, the first thing we want to do is preheat our oven. We're going to put it in the bake only option and hit it at 170 degrees Celsius, which is about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we're going to start by making our pie crust first. Grab 1 cup of all-purpose flour and add it to a bowl. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt and 3 tablespoons of extra virgin Spanish olive oil. Using a fork, start mixing everything together. Once you reach this grainy texture, add 1/3 cup of cold water and continue to mix it until you form a dough. Okay, once our dough is well mixed, let's shape it into a ball. Now add some parchment paper to a flat surface. Sprinkle some all-purpose flour on top. Add the ball of dough on top and using the palm of your hands, start flattening it out. And start rolling out the dough. We want a thickness of about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, now we're going to grab a bowl with a 3-inch diameter and we're going to cut 6 pieces of circular dough. Okay, I have a 6-count muffin tin. Before we add the doughs into the tin, let's grease each hole with a little extra virgin Spanish olive oil. Now get into it with your hands and grease it. Make sure to get the sides as well. Now start gently molding the dough into the tin. Now it's time to add our muffin tin into the oven. Now if you like your pie crust to be a little bit softer and chewier, put it in the oven for about 12 minutes. If you want it to be super crunchy, kind of like a quiche, put it in the oven for 30 minutes. For me, I like it right in between, so I'm going to put my muffin tin into the oven for exactly 20 minutes. Okay, while our pastry crust is baking, let's make the rest of the things that we need. Begin by making the raspberry puree. Grab 1 cup of fresh raspberries and add them to a saucepan. Now add 2 tablespoons of sugar and about ½ a teaspoon of fresh lemon juice. Now we're going to turn on the fire to a medium heat and we're going to cook this between 3 to 4 minutes until all the sugar dissolves. You want to mix it while you're cooking it. Now transfer the raspberry mixture into a sieve with a bowl underneath. And using a wooden spoon, let's push down on the mixture until we have nothing but seeds left. And make sure to scrape the bottom of the sieve to grab all that puree that gets stuck on there. Now let's transfer our raspberry puree into a cup that later will make it easier to pour. Okay, for our next step, let's make some homemade whipped cream. Begin by adding 1 cup of heavy whipping cream into a bowl. Now add 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And start whisking this until stiff peaks form. You know, making homemade whipped cream is one of those procedures where you're like, is this ever gonna thicken up? Is stiff gonna peak form? And it will. You just have to be patient. It takes between 4 to 5 minutes. And also when you're making homemade whipped cream, it's one of those things where if your hand starts hurting, you can take a break. This is not like alioli where you can't stop. Take a break, let your hand rest for a minute, and then get right back into it. It came, it finally came. Look how thick this is getting. We are almost there. Just want to make sure you don't over whisk it. Look at that. That's the exact texture we're looking for. And let's add our whipped cream into the fridge. Okay, it's been a little over 20 minutes since we added our pie crust into the oven. I'm going to take it out and let it rest at room temperature between 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, while our pie crusts are cooling off, let's take our final step, which is melting some chocolate. We're going to drizzle in the inside of each pie crust. Once you have some water boiling inside of a saucepan, add a bowl on top. Add a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips and 1 tablespoon of organic milk and start mixing it. And after mixing this for about 2 to 3 minutes, our chocolate looks perfectly melted. So let's go ahead and turn off the fire. Now add a kiss of the melted chocolate in the inside of each pie crust. Now let's grab our whipped cream from the fridge and our raspberry puree and let's start putting this dessert together. Add some of the raspberry mixture on top. Add the homemade whipped cream. A fresh raspberry on top of each one. Okay, now I'm gonna give it a try. Salud. Oh my gosh, this is so good. It has so many amazing textures to it, and the combination of flavors is so beautiful. If you enjoyed today's video on making this dessert, please hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Until the next time, hasta luego.